Hello everyone and welcome to Memory Flow, where we discuss fragrance and fragrance collecting, and today we are taking a look at Les Absolus d'Orient, one of my favorite things to collect from this house. Some of these fragrances are indeed ideal for gift giving to the people that we know a little about their tastes, and I will try to guide you through the entire collection. Maybe you can find something for yourself, who knows. You have to know that these fragrances are not exclusives from Maison Guerlain. Even so, they are not readily available in every store that has Guerlain. Of course, it would be ideal if you got the chance to smell these first. This is a collection that's inspired by the Middle East and also marketed towards the Middle East. They are powerful fragrances. They contain a lot of heavy synthetics. They have lots of animalics, but this is also the reason why this collection, while it is very atypical for the rest of Guerlain's portfolio, it somehow it does contain the house refinement and mastery in perfumery, which is a very good thing because some of these really do feel exquisite. The bottles are beautiful. They are interpretations of the bee bottle. They are simpler in terms of design language. They are more somber, a little more opulent, if you mean. I do love the little neckties, and they are very colorful. The collection, Les Absolus d'Orient, started in 2014, and it did receive a new entry almost every year. There's been a discontinuation within the collection and two refugees from another collection, which we will talk about in due time. I will try to make this as a top 8 because there are currently 8 fragrances, and I will talk to you from my least favorite to my absolute favorite from the collection. I have in hand here Oud Essentiel, which is on number 8. This is of course all about oud. It's not real oud because I've seen it somewhere. It might have been the official website, but now that's all changed. They say they use a special accord that they created in order to basically recreate the smell of oud, and I don't remember what there was in it, but I hope I'm not mistaken. It was maybe cedar wood and myrrh. Or something to that extent. This is a good time to mention that all of these creations, or most of these creations, feature more or less the same notes in different proportions, and they are of course rose, oud, saffron, all sorts of resins and leather, and in some perfumes some of these notes are heightened, while in others they are muted, they are lowered, which makes for an interesting collection to view and to know as a whole. So Oud Essentiel, Oud Essentiel is quite similar to Santal Royal. If you kind of lower the rose and amp up the oud, of course, and the resins. This is a very woody fragrance. The saffron in this is very prominent. It's very sharp. It's almost pungent. And also very spicy, which is nice. The fragrance does remind me of Amouage Epic Man, if you know that one, but I much prefer Epic Man for its roundness, the way this is round up. I think, in my opinion, it is much better than Oud Essentiel. But if you like that sort of fragrance like Epic Man, do try this Oud Essentiel because it is much cheaper. So yeah. The next one on number 7 will be Cuir Intense, and boy, is this intense. This fragrance I loved from the first time I've smelled it. I smelled it on its launch year, which was 2019. I smelled it directly in the Guerlain flagship store on Soixanty. And I loved it because, yeah, you know, I'm a huge leather fan, and this is leather for days, quite literally. This is also one of the most intense fragrances that I own. So, in effect, this is a rosy leather, very much in tone with the rest of the collection. All of the fragrances here have a bit of rose mixed in, even so the rose here is not very prominent, but there is quite a rosy feel. And you know, the market is quite oversaturated with the rose leather combination, rose oud combination, and so much, and so on and so forth. This one is musky, it's dry, the florals are not very sweet, but they're there. The fragrance has a viscous, syrupy feel to it, and this is not subtle. This will kick you in the face if you're not expecting it. However, when you smell it on other people, it can be quite pleasant. It's definitely very intriguing. So if you know someone that's into leather in all shapes and forms, consider telling them about this fragrance, because I think it's very much worth it. And not only that, this is a powerful woody floral scent for people that are into this sort of genre, but gentle it is not, so beware of that. On number 6, this is Ambre Eternel. This used to be my absolute favorite from this line back when there were only 3 fragrances in this entire collection. They were Oud Essentiel, Santal Royal, and this one, Ambre Eternel. This used to be my favorite the first time I sniffed it, even after I tried Santal Royal, which is something that's changed along the years. So this is now discontinued, which is a shame, because this fragrance is quite different from the others in the line, and quite different from anything that Guerlain has to offer, really. And I haven't yet smelled anything in perfumery that quite gets quite close to this, which is a shame. This is all about ambergris, which is a deep animalic fragrance with salty, inky, lots of leather in this, a lot of orris, which makes it also quite powdery. Then there is some vanilla in this, if I'm not mistaken, but it's the fragrance is quite dry. So the orris makes it powdery and dirty at the same time. This is very funky, especially if you dare wear this in warmer weather. I couldn't possibly imagine this, but on the skin, when it heats up, well, most of them are quite funky, so do consider this. Thierry Vasser said at some point, and I don't remember where, he said that he himself wasn't 100% satisfied with the way that this fragrance turned out, and maybe this is why it is discontinued. I'm not sure, and I can kind of feel that this is not at all balanced. This is not rounded up. This is just intense leather for days, very much animalic leather. This is a challenge to wear because the fragrance is very, very strong, and there is little refinement when it comes to Ambre Eternel, which is, Interesting. I still like it. It's on number 6. It's quite high up. But I guess my preferences have changed. And on number 5, we have Musc Noble, the red bottle. I had an interesting relationship with this fragrance because the first time I've smelled it, it was also on 60. I quickly dismissed this because I found that it was very similar, on paper at least, it was very similar to Santal Royal, which I already had, and I thought this was redundant, and I didn't give it enough thought. I dismissed it as being, well, just another, musky rose. But fortunately, I was given a sample of the fragrance, and when I got to wear it on the skin, I was in awe with how beautiful this fragrance actually is. And now it is in my top 5 from the entire collection, and this says quite a lot. This is indeed another rose scent, but it's also about a very pungent, in your face, dirty musk. This is a very dirty musk, which I came to love. This is very funky, it's very barnyardy, and it settles on my skin into this beautiful, opulent, pompous rose that is very warm, velvety, and very elegant. So much unlike Santal Royal, which we will get to talking in just a minute. I like this because of the sheer audacity of the fragrance, but this is definitely not for everyone. This definitely needs to be tested first. This is not your average rose scent. This is quite audacious. On number 4, Patchouli Ardent, because this is my top favorites indeed. This is very subjective. I'm very curious about your the way you perceive this collection, if you indeed know of it and have these fragrances or have tried these fragrances. So Patchouli Ardent is the latest addition in 2020 to this collection. When I first smelled this, I didn't like it, and if I know myself, and I do, this is quite telling. When I don't like a fragrance, I wouldn't go as far as to say I hated it. I just found that it is quite derivative and nothing to write home about. I did actually make an unboxing for this Patchouli Ardent. There's something there. So there's also, this is telling because I have to really understand this fragrance. I am motivated to give it a second try and a third try and so on, and lo and behold, I came to love it, and it is on number 4 in my preference list. At first this hit me as quite similar to Oud Essentiel, and it is, but in time I came to understand it, and it just blew my mind. This is fresh patchouli with hints of rose, and a very juicy, fruity note, which later I identified as fig. This is very green. This is very atypical of the rest of the entire collection, Les Absolus de Rien, although it is quite integrated because of the rose and the leather and also the sandalwood, which is here, and it's quite nice. Everything is fresh about this fragrance, which I love. It's wonderful, it's sweet, it's perfect for summer. This is the only fragrance, well, maybe it's the only fragrance that's perfect for summer, but there are other fragrances that I can wear during the summer from this and they are Songe d'un Bois d'été and Santal Royal, but not in the heat, not in the middle of the day. It's quite difficult. This fragrance reminds me of Greece a lot, the country, not the movie. It's very herbal. There are hints, I think there are hints of dry tobacco in here. There's some saffron that makes it a bit medicinal, and besides Santal Royal, I think this is the most balanced of the collection, which is so good. And I do encourage you to try this one, Patchouli Ardent. This will, well, hopefully, this will be one of the gifts that I give this holiday season. And for number 3, so Santal Royal, this is where it all started. This is Thierry Vasset's Pride and Joy, and deservedly so. This is a beautiful jammy rose. It's all about the rose. It's sweet, it's sultry, it's spicy, it's velvety. This has the rose and it has the florals, have a touch of freshness which come from an airoli, which balance the fragrance quite a lot. This is a very beautifully balanced fragrance. I love it. This is why it's so high up on my list. I love rounded up balanced fragrances. I love the fact that you can wear them. This balance makes them very versatile. You don't have to think too much when you wear them. Very much unlike Ambre Eternel or Cuir Intense, which are very situational. You have to really, their mood sense, you really have to want to wear them when you do. This is why I love Santal Royal. It's so good. This is heavy. This is very heavy. It has a lot of synthetics, but it is at the same time quite light. Although it is a very powerful fragrance, it is never too much, it is never cloying, and it doesn't bother me at all. A lot of people will wonder, where is the sandalwood when they smell it? Where is the sandalwood in this fragrance? Because this seems to be all about the rose. Actually, in the dry down, it becomes less about the rose and more about woods. And within those woods, sandalwood will never be a center role, a central figure in this fragrance, but it does help with the overall creaminess and the overall freshness of this fragrance, because this is indeed fresh sandalwood, which is so good. As I said, sometime in 2018, they discontinued a beautiful collection which consisted of 3 fragrances. These were Songe d'un Bois d'été, Encens Mythique d'Orient, and Rose Nacrée. I have it in its entirety, and I love it. This was a beautiful and unique collection, and they discontinued it. And these 2 managed to find their way into Les Absolus d'Orient. So let's talk about them. The fragrances in the new bottles are essentially the same. There are only slight differences, so I didn't bother to. I see no point in purchasing the new bottles. I will never, well, never say never, but I will never purchase a fragrance that I own just for a new bottle. I will maybe purchase it for an older bottle, but not for a new bottle. I don't see the point in doing that. I guess we've come to number 2 now. On number 2, we have Encens Mythique. In its new name, this used to be called Encens Mythique d'Orient. At this point, these 2 fragrances, which I do find way above in terms of beauty, sheer beauty and complexity and the way that they're done and work and whatever, I find that they are way above the entire collection Les Absolus d'Orient, so they might as well have been both of them on number 1, but they're not. It was difficult, but on number 2 there is Encens Mythique. This is a very sexy, suave, polished scent that I've called a couple of times Thierry Vasser's masterpiece. It's because it is unique. I haven't yet found a fragrance to even get close to the way Encens Mythique smells. You can look at the notes. This will not give you any idea of how this fragrance smells, because this is so much more than the sum of its parts. I will try to describe it, but this is very difficult. This is a musky, funky, animalic rose. This is very funky indeed, to the point that it smells of intimate parts. It smells of a heated body, and it's not sweat. This is a clean body. You can maybe get hints from a shower gel or other cleaning products. This has a beautiful ambergris as well, but this ambergris is very much different from the ambergris in Ambre Eternel. This is so clarified, it's almost see-through. This is I find it hard to describe, but as I said, this is just a bit smoky. It's also very deep. The fragrance is also very powerful, but this will never be too much for me, because it's heady, it's intoxicating in the very best sense there is. And it's a pleasure to wear, it's a pleasure to smell on others, and you will smell it on others because the sillage for this is enormous. And this is just an intriguing smell. This is definitely a test first, because it's very funky. But you should give it a try. You should at least experience it. Some people will dismiss this as just another rose fragrance, but it truly isn't. This is rose as I've never smelled rose before. So on to my number 1 fragrance from the lot. This used to be called Songe en Bois d'été. It's now called Bois Mysterieux. In the other red bottle from the collection. Now, what can I say? This is wondrous. This is a wonder of a fragrance. This is very atypical, although it does fit into the rest of the collection somehow, maybe because of the ingredients, maybe because of the notes, but its complexity is just out of this world. This one is patchouli, it's jasmine, it's saffron, and it's myrrh, and every one of these notes are have a very specific role, and they are blended to perfection. It's very difficult to pull them apart, which is again something I really like in perfumery. Many people will tell you that there is oud in this, but there actually isn't any oud in this. I had to say this. Although there is this dry saffron note, and if you wear it in the summer, this will also become very funky indeed, and I have worn it in the summer, but only in the evenings. I couldn't wear this during the day. This smells of forest floor. The florals are there, but they're not prominent. This is again another heavy fragrance, quite heavy, but it manages to be fresh at the same time. It's very rounded for a very earthy and a very resinous fragrance, because the myrrh in this is just to die for. It's very churchy, it's very incensey. There you have it. This is very complex on the skin, and it can take you on a most wonderful journey. So this is my favorite from the line, and you should definitely give Bois Mysterieux a try. I also must tell you in the closing of this video, I must tell you that this collection didn't receive a new edition this year. There were rumors about a tobacco fragrance to be added on here, which I was very excited about, but it didn't appear as of yet. So along with the changes that are happening right now at Guerlain, I fear for the worst for this collection. As of now, they are still available, most of them on the website. The price range is 160 euros. You can very well find them discounted online for as little as 100 euros. Even less for some fragrances. Santal Royal also, it's the only one that has, these come in 125 milliliter bottles, and Santal Royal has a 75 milliliter bottle, which is cheaper of course, and it is ideal for gift giving, and also to buy for yourself if you're curious, and if you love this fragrance. So yeah, there you have it. This was my guide to Les Absolus d'Orient, the collection to date, together with my favorites. I'm very curious about your thoughts on the entire collection. Do leave them in the comments. And with that being said, have a very happy holiday season, and remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy. See you soon.